अरहंत सिद्ध सुर उपाध्याय साधु सर्व अर्थ के प्रकाशी मांगलिक उपकारी है। तीन को स्वरूप जानी रागते भई जो भक्ति काय को नमाए स्तुति को उच्चारी है। धन्य धन्य तुम से काज सब आज भयो कर चोरी बारंबार वंदना हमारी है। मंगल कल्याण सुख ऐसो हम चाहते हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। हो मेरी ऐसी दशा जैसी तुम धारी है। So Samit Shikharji, yesterday we discussed what is Tirth. Tirth means ford, F-O-R-D. So what is a ford from the real point of view and what is a ford from the conventional point of view? So from the real point of view, our pure soul is the ford. Then the three jewels, right belief, right knowledge and right conduct is the ford. Then passionless religion is the ford. Then true God, true scriptures and true preceptor, they are also considered as ford from the real point of view. From the conventional point of view, ford are those places where Tirthankars are born, where the 5 auspicious events of Tirthankars are held, the places where souls have got liberated. Then there are some miraculous space, those are also called fort. Then there are some places which are famous for their art, those are also called fort. So fort have different meanings from the real point of view and from the conventional point of view. This is what we discussed yesterday and we take this further, and now the discussion has moved on to Samit Shikharji. Okay, so from there we are starting the discussion. So far we have seen what is a ford from the real point of view and from the conventional point of view. Okay, now we are considering the importance of Samit Shikharji. Okay, so from here we begin. Yeah, you are at the right place. How did you get it?
Because you said that it's page 10 of the Hindi book. So I just went to page 10 of the English.
Okay, fine, good. Yeah. So from here we begin. Samit Shikhar is the most significant and supreme Tirthraj, king of pilgrimage sites, as it is the place of liberation for 20 Tirthankars of the present set of 24 Tirthankars, okay, which is also called Chobisi. Okay. So, Samit Sikhar's importance lies here that out of 24, 20 Tirthankars have got liberated from this place. Okay. Usually, all the 24 Tirthankars are born in Ayodhya and they get liberated from Samit Sikharji every time. Only this is a special case. This is a special descending period of time where it's called Hunda Ausarpini. And because of this Hunda Ausarpini, there are some peculiarities that we have seen in this period of time. Okay. So after innumerable Kalpakals, there is one Hunda Ausarpini Kal, which is like an exception to the general rules. Several scriptures have mentioned that the current Ausarpini Kal, okay, is Hunda Ausarpini. The exceptions seen in this Kal are, there are few exceptions. First, rainfall in third era, and the advent of 22 four sensed beings in the Bhog Bhumi. So this is again an exception. Two sensed beings and four sensed being, uh, they were there was an advent of these creatures in the Bhog Bhumi. Usually in Bhog Bhumi, these are not there. But because of this, and rainfall is also not there in the third era, but in this particular time, there was a rainfall. Then the next point is the eradication of wish fulfilling tree, you know, um, Kalpa Vruksh. In earlier times, it was Kalpa Vruksh. You just think of something, you wish something, and you get it. So people don't have to do any labors, okay? So that eradication of wish fulfilling trees in the last Bhog Bhumi itself, and birth and liberation of first Tirthankar in third era. So Adinath Bhagwan was born in the third era. Usually all the Tirthankars are born in the fourth era and they get liberated in the fourth era itself. But this being an exceptional, Tirthankar, first Tirthankar, Adinath Bhagwan, was born in third era and got liberated in the third era. So before the advent of fourth era, Lord Adinath got liberated. So this is again an exception. Then in this, because of this special time of Hunda Spandi Kal, exceptional Kal, Chakravarti being challenged on his authority. As we have seen between Bahubali and Chakravarti, Bahubali was not ready to accept Bharat Chakravarti's authority. So that also happened because of this exception. The next is the number of Shalaka Purus less than 63. So that also we are seeing in the present era, that is in the fourth era, there were less than 63 Shalaka Purush. Otherwise, usually it is 63. Then complete eradication of religion between 9th and 16th Tirthankar. So between 9th and 16th Tirthankar, there were times when there was complete eradication of religion. Okay. So this kind of things happened at those period only. After the 16th Tirthankar, this particular flow has been maintained and it is going to be maintained at the end up till the end of fifth era. Okay. Now there will be no breakage. Although the religion will gradually decrease, but there is no breakage. But between 9th and 16th, there were breakage many a times, not one, two times, but many a times. So we are so fortunate to be born in such a phase where we have got access to true religion. Okay. So if you could have born between 9th and 16th Tirthankar's time, there could be chances that even getting a human life, you may not have access to true Jain religion. Then the next point is upsarg on Tirthankars. Okay. So torture on Tirthankars, upsarg. So seventh Tirthankar, then 23rd Tirthankar Parasnath Swami, and 24th Tirthankar Mahavir Swami. Okay. So they had upsargs. Now the next point is the popularity of false gods, false monks, and false scriptures in third, fourth, and fifth era. Okay. That is also because of this exception. Usually, there are no false god, no false monks, and no false scriptures in the third, fourth, and fifth era. Okay. But this is an exception. Then, common occurrence of floods, famine, and earthquake. Now, this is again because of this exception. Otherwise, where the Tirthankars are there, there is no floods, no famine, no earthquakes, nothing. The land is so prosperous all the time. Then birth of a daughter to a Tirthankar, like we have seen with Adinath Bhagwan, and then maybe one or two more Tirthankars, but Adinath Bhagwan I am sure. In all the Utsarpinis and Ausparinis, each of the 24 Tirthankars are born in Ayodhya and attain liberation from Samet Seeker, all the 24. But in this era, only 5 were born in Ayodhya and only 20 attained liberation from Samet Seeker. So, in this way, there are many exceptions to this Hunda Auspranikal. Okay, this was I wanted to mention. So, I mentioned it. Now we come back to the textbook. While discussing the places of liberation of the Tirthankars, a verse from the Mangalastak, okay, is recited. And then there is another discussion from the Nirvan Kand, okay. The meanings are given in the next paragraph. So we will straightway see the meaning, okay. So the above verses clearly convey that the first Tirthankar, Lord Adinath, attained liberation from Mount Kailash. The 12th Tirthankar, Lord Vasupujya, from Champapur. Okay. 22nd Tirthankar, Lord Neminath, from Mount Girnar. And the 24th Tirthankar, Lord Mahavir, from Pavapuri. So these are the 4 exceptions. Otherwise, everyone gets liberated from Samet Shikharji only. The remaining 20 Tirthankars of the present Chaubisi attained liberation from Samet Shikhar. In this context, the following couplet is also noteworthy. The Sith Kshetra Tirth is supreme, an exalted, noble place. I eternally bow to Shikhar Samed, where sins are destroyed. Countless sages have attained liberation from the summit of this peak. I bow at their lotus feet, which relieve the agony of the sansar, worldly existence. So this is meaning of one of the verse that was there. Then the next one. Samet Sikar is not merely the sovereign among sacred sites, Tirthraj, but an eternal abode of liberation, Saswat Tirthdham. For it is only the site of liberation for 20 Tirthankars of the current set of 24 Tirthankars, but also the place from which countless Tirthankars and ascetic sages, okay, the monks, have already attained liberation, and where in the future too, innumerable Tirthankars and sages shall attain moksha. So it's such a holy place where countless monks and Tirthankars have attained liberation. As you are already aware, countless sets of 24 Tirthankars have manifested in Bharat Kshetra till now, and innumerable more shall manifest in the future. It is also firmly established that every Tirthankar of Bharat Kshetra takes birth in Ayodhya and attains liberation from Samet Seeker. That is the natural way, except this exception. Okay. Thus, this Tirthraj, the sovereign among sacred sites, is sanctified by the liberation of innumerable Tirthankars and beyond them an even vaster multitude of beings as monks. Okay. Being the site of liberation for countless Muniraj, ascetic sages, Samet Sikar is undoubtedly the most significant Tirthraj, the supreme pilgrimage site. Moreover, since innumerable Tirthankars and beyond them An even greater multitude of Muni Rajas shall also attain moksha from there in the future. It is not merely the most revered sacred site, but a Saswat Tirth Dham, an eternal pilgrimage sanctuary. Here, a natural question may arise. If in Bharat Kshetra, all Tirthakars attend moksha only from Samit Sikhar, then why did 4 Tirthankars from the present set of 24 attain liberation from other places? Answer. If a few Tirthankars from the present set of 24 were not born in Ayodhya and did not attain liberation from Samit Seeker, then the sole reason for this is the exception caused by the Hunda Ausarpini, the disordered descending era. Okay. Ausarpini is called the descending era and Utsarpini is called the ascending era, where things keep on moving gradually, things keep on improving gradually. And in the descending era, things keep on uh, falling, keep on falling as the time progresses. So we already see that 25 years ago, life was so simple. And today life is so complicated. 25 years ago, there were no mobile phone, there was no internet. Well, people still lived happily. And if you go further deep, 50 years, 100 years ago, life was so simple. And now the technology has advanced, but the complexities has also increased. Now every individual is under stress, depression, right? So all these are the lifestyle problems that we are facing right now. So it is a descending era. Things will get worse to worst as the time progresses. We are fortunate to born in the starting period of this fifth era, and we should consider ourselves very lucky that we have got access to this true religion, true scriptures, and true preceptors. Okay, and by reading the books written by them, we can also manifest religion right now. We can begin our spiritual journey, and subsequently we can get liberated in the next few births. After countless cycles, so from here we have to read. Darshitji, you read only.
After countless cycles of Avasparni, descending time cycles, and Utsarpini, ascending time cycles, there occurs a Hunda Avasparni era, an anomalous descending cycle in which many such exceptions take place. The birth of daughters to Tirthankars, the dishonoring of Chakravartis, universal emperors, and other such occurrences are also exceptions peculiar to this Hunda Avasparni. In this context, the following verse from the Parvas Puran is worth noting. To understand the nature of this cyclical time system comprising Avaspini and Uttaspini, the following statement from the author's other work, Tirthankar Bhagwan Mahavir or Unka Sarvodaya Tirth, is particularly useful. Time repeats itself. This is a natural law and a scientific phenomenon. Just as day and night, fortnights and months, seasons and years continually recur, in the same way, centuries, millennia, and even countless spans of time also repeat themselves through certain natural laws. Within this great rotation of time, there arise inherent fluctuations, which in Jain terminology are known as Avaspini, descending half cycle, and Uttaspini, ascending half cycle. Where Uttaspini, ascending half cycle, gradually increases in excellence, Avaspini, descending half cycle, decreases in the same order. Thus, Utsarpini is the phase of progressive rise and Avaspini is of gradual decline. Each of these, Utsarpini and Avaspini, spans 10 Koda Kodi Sagars, immeasurable time units. In this way, a complete Kalp-Kal aeon comprises a total of 20 Kodak-Kori sagas. And in every such Kalp-Kal, there occur two sets of 24 Tirthankars, i.e. two Chovisis. There are 6 divisions of the Avaspini descending time cycle. Sukma, Sukma, utmost happiness and prosperity. Sukma, happiness. Sukma, Dukma, mixed phase. More happiness, some misery. Dukma, Sukma, mixed phase. More misery, some happiness. Dukma, misery. Dukma, Dukma, utmost misery and degeneration. Similarly, Utsarpini, ascending half cycle of time, is also of 6 types. Dukma, 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 Sukma, Sukma, Dukma, Sukma, and Sukma, Sukma. In the 6 divisions, the experience of happiness and misery aligns with their respective names. Here the word Sukh, happiness, is used in the sense of worldly pleasures, bhog. Up to the 3rd period, there is predominance of such pleasures, so much so that opportunities for spiritual progress do not even arise. The manifestation of Tirthankars occurs only in the 4th era, and the path to liberation, Moksha, is also accessible only in this 4th period. From this perspective, the 4th period is of utmost importance. At the end of the 3rd period, 14 Kulakars, great primordial leaders, appear, and in the 4th period, 63 Shalak Purushas, great illustrious beings, are born. The 63 Shalak Purushas, great illustrious beings, are classified as follows: 24 Tirthankars, 12 Chakravartis, universal emperors, 9 Narayans, 9 Pratinarayans, and 9 Balbhadras. At present, the 5th era, Panchmakal, of the Avaspini time cycle is ongoing. In this period, neither Kulkaras, primordial lawgivers, are born, nor do the 63 Shalak Purushas manifest. No soul attains liberation, moksha, either. Do you want me to carry on?
Yes.
The lives and conduct of the 63 Salak Purushas who were born in the 4th era, Chaturthkal, especially the Tirthankars, form the core narrative of Jain Purans. In this way, infinite Kals, aeonic cycles have passed, and infinite such cycles are yet to come. Accordingly, infinite sets of 24 Tirthankars have already appeared in this Bharat region, and infinite more will arise in the future. A similar arrangement exists in the Airavat region as well. However, the structure in the Vidya region is somewhat different. There, the state of the 4th era, Chatut Kal, persists perpetually.
Stop.
In the context,
Stop. So you see, in the Bharat and the Airavat, similar things happens, And in Mahavidya Kshetra, okay, in the Videsh region, there is always the 4th era persisting, okay. So this is something different, but in Bharat and Airavat, this kind of things happen. And in between, there was one line, and in every such Kalpakal, there occur 2 sets of 24 Tirthankars. So how is this 2 sets of 24 Tirthankars? So one in the Ausarpini and one in the Utsarpini. So both put together is 24 Tirthankars of 2 sets of 24 Tirthankars. Okay. Then we also, Darshit also read about the 6 different time cycles, the Sukma, okay. So you can see in Ausarpini, which is a descending time cycle, things deteriorate gradually as the time progresses. And in the Utsarpini, things keep on improving. So today we are in now the 5th era, and we have crossed just 2006 years, 2600 years. But after this 5th era ends, there will be no religion in the 6th era. Similarly, there will also be no religion in the next, then it will go reverse. So again 6th era will come of 21,000 years, no religion. Then again 21,000 years, fifth era, no religion. And then when the fourth era begins, then again there will be Tirthankars here. So from now onwards for 84,000 years, there will be no Tirthankar. So that's why Shrenik Maharaja, who is now in hell, is going to be the first Tirthankar in the next 24 Tirthankars. Okay. So now he has got a life of 84,000 years in hell. And after he finishes that life, he will become the first Tirthankar in the Bharat Chakra in the fourth era.
His name is Mahapadma. His name will be
Mahapadma, right?
Mahapadma is his name.
And you did you also you joined late, I think.
Yes, sir.
Did you
Summer I
listen to
went
this
outside.
Hunda Uspranikal? Did you listen to the exceptions?
Yes, sir. Yes. One
All
more
the
thing, with your permission, I want to add that Utsatpanikal,
Mhm.
the Tirthankars will come in the third period. Usually the fourth period will, because that one is there. That is also we have to note it.
No, it will come in the fourth era only.
No, ji. Because that Suk, Duk, that because it's come from backside, no.
No, not this one you are talking about, or the next one.
I'm telling about the next one.
So the next one in the fourth era itself,
Yeah.
Tirthankar will be there.
Because also, yes, because of this Unda Avasarpani, the third call itself, Tirthankar has come, where Vrishabha Swami has come.
So that one has been done. That has been already done, right? Now in the next 24 Tirthankars, it will be beginning of the fourth era only.
Fourth era only.
It's
I'll
clearly
find.
mentioned. Yeah, it's clearly mentioned in the scriptures, and this has come into the sermons from the sermons of Tirthankar only, right? So exception was in this particular time frame, and that has already been already done. Okay. So this Handa Aspanikal exceptions, you know. So
Ji, excuse me, Ji. That I want a small doubt, please. In the fifth era, we are in the Avarsarpani time cycle. Am I right?
right.
Hunda Avasarpani. This time is Hunda Avasarpani. It's a special case.
We are in the Avarsarpani life cycle. After that, we'll have you'll have that is Koda Kodi Sagar. After that, you'll have the sixth era or you'll have the Utsarpanika.
So after fifth era of 21,000 years are over, there will be sixth era of 21,000 years. Okay. Still it is a descending time. People, humans will eat another human. That is going to happen in the
Also,
sixth
they
era.
will, the shortest one, there will be some feet or some.
And their life would be around 15-20 years only.
No, 20 years, sir. 20 years.
Yes,
sir.
20 years.
Yes, you
So
said it's
after
correct.
that,
They will eat. No
after
fire.
that,
No fire for food.
After that, in the sixth era, again sixth era will start of 21,000 years, but that will be a improving time frame. You know, things will go on improving, and then fifth era will come of 21,000 years, and then in the fourth era, the Tirthankars will emerge, and the religion will also start.
The period is there. First is 4 Koda Kodi. That 10 Koda Kodi is separated. Yes, total. Yeah. In that 5 and 6 consists of 42.
Yes.
The third one is 1 lakh minus this 42. That like
that. Right.
Thank you, sir. No, you are consolidated very nicely. I heard that consolidation. Exceptions.
Okay.
5 Tirthankars is nicely written.
Yes. So now, there is nothing much to explain here. So now we move further in the context. Yeah. So Sasikala ji, you can read from the screen. In the context of the glory of the eternal Tirthraj.
In the context of glory of the eternal Tirtharaja, Samhita Shikharji, one minute, gone up once again. One more noteworthy point is this: wherever Tirthankara or Muni Raja attains attains liberation, they remain seated directly above the very spot in the Siddha Shila, abode of liberated souls, for infinite time, because the movement, gati of the liberated soul is avagraha, that is unbending without deviation or deflection. Sir, you want to explain?
So, from wherever the monks are doing their meditation, from the same place they go straight way up, and they are there in the Siddh Sila at that particular place. There is no deviation. Like it will go up and then it will bend and then it will go some other, no. Straight way from where they are doing meditation, either in uh, sitting pose or in standing pose. From that particular region only, they will go straight up without any deviation into the Siddh Sila.
That is within the 4 samay, maximum 3 samay or 4th samay they will attain liberation.
3 samay, right.
3 samayas. When we offer vandana, reverent salutation to Titaraja Sameta Shikara, we should reflect deeply upon this truth that right above very spot where we stand, countless siddhas, liberated beings, reside eternally. It is the infinite siddhas are seated directly above our heads.
Each and every space of this universe, there is not such a place where there has not a soul got liberation. So from each and every place, Tirthankar, not only Tirthankar, but people have got liberated.
Yes,
Okay?
so many beings, Muniraj.
Yes.
Such a contemplation will surely stir a thrill within us. It will fill us with bliss, purify our inner dispositions. That is parinama, and render our pilgrimage truly successful and meaningful. Here, a question may arise. That is the stated in these scriptures that in the 4 to 5 million yojana expanse, that is a distance of Siddhashila above the liberated, there is not even an inch of space where a Siddha Bhagavan is not present. It is indeed certain that one who becomes liberated abides in the Siddhashila directly in line with the location of their liberation. In such a situation, the entire the dialogue, that is 2.5 continents, 2.5 continents, and dialogue, yeah, would become Siddhashetra. There remains no such a place from which at least one soul has not attained liberation. So, what special significance does the land of Sameshakar hold over other lands? Shall I continue? Because the answer is going to come.
Yes, continue.
Brother, the thing is that although all the places in the island of Jambu Deep are sacred sites, the number of liberated souls, siddhas on the land of Sameshakar is much higher, because in every single space occupied by siddha, countless other siddhas coexist. Correct. That is the one we see in the picture also. Secondly, Shikhar Samed is not just a place of liberation for ordinary monks, but also for countless Tirthankaras. Therefore, it is the king of pilgrimage sites, Tirtharaj, and its special significance cannot be denied. Sir, want to explain or continue?
No, this is all we have discussed just now, that there from every space there has been liberated, but particularly from Samet Sikar,
the density is more.
The capacity is more, because there has many
Countless
sages and Tirthankars have got liberation from there. And since at one space in one Siddh Bhagwan there are infinite another Siddh Bhagwans, it can accommodate, the space can accommodate infinite Siddh Bhagwans. So that's why from Samet Sikharji, the quantity of people who got liberated is more than the other regions.
This eternal Tirtharaja Sameshakar, the supreme pilgrimage site, is located in Bharatavarsha, near the town named Giridi in the province known as Jharkhand. This mountain lord is situated at an elevation of 4,279 feet above the sea level, which is approximately 1,284 meters. This mountainous region spans an area of 40 square kilometer in a rectangular shape. At the summit of the mountain are the foot symbols, that is carved footprints of the 24 Tirthas. To offer reverence to these footprints, pilgrims must ascend the mountain by walking approximately 10 kilometers, at the end of which they reach the first tonk, that is peak shrine of the 17th Tirthankara, Lord Gundunath. Thereafter, to pay homage at all the tonks, one must walk around 10 kilometers, ascending and descending along the way. Finally, one reaches the tonk of the 23rd Tirthankara, Lord Parshanath. That is, after this, the descent, coming down of 10 kilometers completes the route. In total, the pilgrimage spans a distance of approximately 30 kilometers. It is especially worth noting here that the path is not a smooth, level, or well-paved route. Rather, it is rugged, uneven tail of rocky inclines and descents along the mountain terrain. Pilgrims ascend and descend this path barefoot. It cannot be completed in segments. Rather, the entire pilgrimage must be undertaken in a single stretch, as there is no place to halt or night either at the summit of anywhere along the way. Shall I continue?
Yes.
Even if such a provision were to be made, no one would actually choose to stay there, because all the pilgrims consider the act of excreting waste on the mountain as a sinful deed. Okay. Despite all these challenges, thousands of pilgrims ascend this mountain daily to offer their reverent salutations to the Siddhas, liberated souls. With heart filled with devotion, they bow in worship, and through the strength of their spiritual intention, everything is accomplished with ease. Here, a question may naturally arise. At the end of the sixth era, that is Sasta Kala, that is sixth cosmic dissolution, that pralayam, that is occurs, during which everything is disrupted and destroyed. In such a situation, how can it be asserted with a certainty that this indeed the very place from where countless Tirthankaras have attained liberation, moksha? Even after the cosmic dissolution, certain signs and markers remains, based on which Indra, the celestial king, restores Ayodhya and Sameshikar to their proper order. Therefore, it is indeed certain that this is very location is one from which the liberation, moksha of countless Tirthankaras is assured. Such a doubt is also raised in the context of the places from which the Tirthankaras attained liberation. However, even in that context, there remains no room for uncertainty or suspicion, because from the very specific spot where the Tirthankaras attained liberation, Indra marks it with a symbol for nirvana puja, liberation worship, because they'll be knowing, no, through the signs. Acharya Samandabhadra, while offering praise to Lord Neminatha in the Swayambhu Sutra, has indicated that Indra marked the place of liberation of Mount Girnar with the thunderbolt, that is Vajrayam, his own weapon. Therefore, it must firmly understood that wherever these Karana Charana Chinha, that is footprints, Chinha, are present, those places are indeed, in essence, the original sites themselves. By holding.
Stop. So you see, first of all, this 10 kilometers, 10 kilometers and 10 kilometers, 30 kilometers journey is there. But in actual it is 9, 9 and 9, 27
Yes, sir.
kilometers.
Exactly. 27 only.
Yes. And I have been to Summit Shikharji and I stayed there for 1 month, 4 times.
Oh my God.
And recently I booked a flat over there. There is a complex coming up under the aegis of Pandit Sumat Prakash ji. A complex ashram is coming up over there, and there I have booked a flat.
How much you have to pay, sir?
So 11 lakhs.
It's closed, huh? All?
No, out of 60 flats, the 40s have been booked, and 1 bedroom hall kitchen. It is 550 square feet.
Okay, okay.
So I am planning my samadhi over there. Right.
So,
And it's a
sir,
very good place. I've been there for 1 month. I've stayed there.
my God.
Very nice place. You will really
Yes.
enjoy. But
Yes.
if you go and stay there for a longer period, then you will realize this. But generally, people go there one day. The next day, they go to the mountain. Then they come down, and the next day, then they go to Pavapuri. These and that, they keep on traveling. But if you stay at one place and just enjoy the environment, the atmosphere, you will feel that it is so conducive to meditation, and you can really feel the vibes and the pulse of the place, that this Tirthankars must be here only. It's such a good place for meditation. Okay. So when next time you visit, you take time and stay there for 15 days, 1 month, like that, So
Yes.
so this complex will be ready. The temple and the ashram will be ready by maybe September, October, and the building is also under construction. It will be ready by next year.
Okay.
So so it's a very good place. So everyone must visit there for a longer period of time. Okay, and as said that to maintain the sanctity of those places, there should not be any construction work over there, so that people go and stay there. Then it will, then that particular place will lose its importance. That particular place is important because you can do your meditation in those places, and that is exclusively for that. Okay. So despite all these challenges, thousands of pilgrims, they start at 2 o'clock in the night, and then only they are able to complete the journey by evening. So that is also, that is something that one should not do, because in the night at 2 o'clock, if you start, there are so many small insects over here and there. So ideally we should start at sunset, or maybe little before sunset, and then complete the journey. Nowadays they have there are two-wheelers being arranged. So while coming down up to 9 kilometers, the two-wheelers goes up to 9 kilometer, and then they drop you there. Then you go in between, do the other 9 kilometers, and then while coming back,
Bike.
bike, they
Bike.
come, they bring you back also 9 kilometers. So in that way, the journey has become more simplified for those older people who cannot walk so much. For them it is good. And otherwise, the dollies are also available there. Depending on your weight, they charge some money, but at least people are doing that kind of thing also. But the whole place is, see, this, it's a Sit Kshetra. It's not a particular place, but the whole place. So what we used to do, every day we used to go 5 kilometers deep into the forest and stayed at one place and come back again from there. Every day we used to go there 2, 3, 4 hours in the morning, stay there for there, and then come back. So this is how we used to traveling. Traveling for whole one day and doing nothing, that does not make sense. But people generally do it that way. But it's a real surreal experience for all of people visiting over there. You will never find a place like that again. Okay. So
Sir, one thing I want to, mother, I missed on that 24 path, the first one he was telling before Gundu Bhagwan.
17 Tirthankar.
Jnanadhara Koot, that one thing, every Koot has got name. Swarnabhadra Koot, that is Tonk is very famous. Lalit Koot is Bhagavan Chantra Prabhu. Like that. That Padik 24 Tirthankaras is not that 11 Ganadharas of Mahavir and all the Ganadharas of first Ganadharas of all the 24 Tirthankaras. I'll share the Tonk song.
I know, but these tongs, the tongs of the Tirthankars, 24 Tirthankars that have been made
by Indras, that is correct.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll read again and come back to you, sir.
So the Indras have made some marking over there, and from there these things have come. That is what the explanation says here about that. So that we need to accept as it is.
100%.
It doesn't make a difference. The whole place is pure, and from each and every place sages or the Tirthankars have got liberated from there. Okay. So now again we continue from here by holding such deep reverences. Subhaji, you read.
Yes, please. By holding such deep reverence upon reaching that place, a natural purity of disposition arises. A surge of devotional sentiment wells up, the feeling of detachment is awakened, the resolve for self-liberation intensified, and the maturation of inner sentiments occur in special manner. Here, one point is worth noting. All of our Siddha Kshetras, abode of the liberated, are generally situated atop mountain peaks, whereas the sacred sites of Vaishnava tradition are mostly located on the level ground on the banks of the Ganga by the seashore. The convenience that are possible on flat land, how could such convenience be possible atop mountain summits? Any construction or temple building done on the banks of the Ganga or by the sea would occur minimal expenditure and labor due to the easy availability of water and the presence of level ground. However, when construction is undertaken atop a mountain peak, when a temple is built, the expenditure becomes 100-fold. For even carrying a single sack of cement from the base to the summit cost 4 times in labor than the original price of the material. Every single item must be carried upward from below. As a result, there is a great hardship. The expenses are much higher, and arranging for materials and provisions becomes significantly more difficult. These uneven and rugged parts of the mountain peak are filled with hardships. Earlier, people were somewhat accustomed to walking, but nowadays, even the practice has diminished. And even if someone does walk a little, it is only on clean, flat paths. Nobody walks on rough and uneven terrains anymore. Therefore, in today's times, such pilgrimages have become extremely arduous. Thus, a question naturally arises in people's mind. Why are the pilgrimage sites of the Sramana Samskriti ascetic tradition located specifically on mountain peaks? Why are they constructed atop mountains instead of flat land? Shouldn't the convenience of the pilgrims have been considered as well? The more accessible these pilgrimage sites are, the more the general public can benefit from them. After all, Dharma should be universally accessible, easily attainable, and within everyone's reach. Oh dear, this question would arise only if these pilgrimage sites had been established through deliberate planning. But these came into being naturally. Wherever Tirthankars and ascetic saints engaged in self-worship, Atma adana, and self-discipline.
Atma Aradhana.
Atma Aradhana and self-discipline. Wherever they entered deep meditation, those very places became Tirthas, sacred sites. The ascetics of Vaishnava tradition established their abodes along the banks of the Ganga or the seashore. Accordingly, their Tirthas came to be situated near the Ganga or the seacoast. In contrast, our ascetics engage in self-discipline, Atma Sadhana, in secluded forests and on mountain tops. Therefore, our Tirthas naturally came to be located in such remote forest region and high peaks. What can be done about it? When this point is brought up, another question naturally arises. Why did our Tirthankaras and our saints choose such secluded places for Atma Sadhana, self-discipline? Because our dharma is a vitragi dharma, a path of detachment of self-realization and inner meditation. For Atma Dhyana, self-contemplation, a secluded place is the most conducive. The kind of solitude that is naturally found on these mountain peaks is not available elsewhere. Some people believe that by performing severe austerities under the blazing summer sun atop a mountain, by subjecting the body to intense sufferings, one can destroy karma. But this notion holds no real merit. Drying out the body does not dissolve karmas. Karmas are destroyed only to Atma Aradhana, self-devotion, and Atma Sadhana, self-discipline, and Atma Sadhana and Atma Aradhana are nothing but Atma Jnana and Atma Dhyana. To know the Nija Bhagavan Atma, the true eternal self that is distinct from Para, the other, and the Pariyaya, the transient mode, this alone is a Atma Jnana, self-knowledge. This is Samyak Jnana, right knowledge. To establish a sense of inner identity with it is Samyak Darshana, right perception, and to become fully absorbed, merged into Samyak Charitra, right contact. In essence, this Samyak Charitra is none other than Atma Dhyana, self-contemplation. In this, there is absolutely no role for drying out the body. In this case, if that is the case, then the same question inevitably arises. Why did our Tirthankaras and ascetics choose such places and such unfavorable environments for meditation? We observe that the very spot on Sameda Sikhar from where the Tirthankaras attained liberation have, in some instances, no little space that even a second person cannot stand there. On observing the peaks, it appears that most of the location must have been similar. It is a different matter that today, for the sake of our own convenience, we have modified them in such a way that some people can now gather there. In reality, the matter is this. Our ascetics deliberately choose such spots for meditation, places where even another person cannot sit beside them. Precisely because if someone sits nearby, they are unlikely to remain silent. And these ascetics do not wish to speak to anyone at all. Conversation creates connection with the para, other, and any contact with the para becomes the greatest obstacle to meditation. First of all, hardly anyone would venture to such a great height on a mountain. And even if someone did, when there is no space beside to sit, how would they sit next to them? In this way, the mountain top naturally offers them solitude with ease. In the same way, even in scorching sunlight, they choose not to sit in the shade of a tree, but instead meditate in the open, fully exposed to the sun. If they were to sit under the dense shade of a tree, during the blazing midday of summer, then, even if not a human being, animals or birds would likely gather around them. Such presence too could disturb their self-absorption. To avoid this disturbance, they sit in the sunlight, not to burn away karmas with the heat of the sun, but to safeguard their meditation.
Stop. Stop. So you see why the monks and the Tirthankars, they meditate on such places, like they meditate on in the sun at the peak of the mountain, and they meditate on a secluded spot. Why? Because they don't want any disturbance. Okay. And even if they are doing any meditations under the shades, then if humans are not available there, then the animals will also come and disturb. So they don't want any kind of disturbance. So they do meditation on such places, and they prefer to be alone in those places. So this is the primary reason why all our pilgrimage sites are like such. Because our Tirthankars and monks like such places where there are no disturbance. Okay. And if our Tirthankars and monks would have been meditating near the cities, then our pilgrimage sites would also be there, right? And there we will have all the comforts and facilities available over there. So we cannot do this sadhana. Okay. So then it is very justified that they should be there only, and these places are to be preserved. Because if we lose out on this, then it will again become another hill station, another picnic point. So to maintain its sanctity, we should promote these places as a place for meditation only and not for any other purpose. So now, Jinpriya, you can continue from where Subhaji left. Why do our Tirthankars from there? Oh, Jinpriya ji is not there, so I will only read now. Okay. Why do our Tirthankars and
If you want, I'll read it.
No, I am doing it now because time is also left and we have to complete this. So it's all very simple. You can read it yourself also, but I'm just going through it. Why do our Tirthankars and our Muniraj dwell only in secluded forest? Okay. So all this we have already discussed, but still I'm reading it. Why are they forest dwellers and not city dwellers? Because had they lived in cities, then our pilgrimage sites too would have been situated in cities, not in forest, not on mountains. In that case, we too would have found all comforts and conveniences readily available at our place of pilgrimage. Our journey would have resembled a pleasurable picnic, filled with enjoyment, not the exhausting one it is today. Oh brother, is a pilgrimage undertaken for 1 minute. Oh brother, is a pilgrimage undertaken for self-upliftment or for enjoyment like a picnic? If one merely seeks pleasure, there are countless other places suited for that, while defile sacred tirthas for it. Right? Indulgence in amusement and sensual pleasures only taints the sanctity of these holy places. Pilgrimage is meant to intensify the spirit of renunciation, vairagya bhavna, not for merrymaking. Turning a tirth into a place of pleasure is not dharma. It is an assault upon dharma itself. As for the question of why Muniraj dwells in forest, regarding this, a relevant passage from the author's other work, Panchkanak Pratishtha Mahotsav, is worth noting. The more forest-dwelling Muniraj remain away from the company of city-dwelling householders, the greater their capacity for inner discipline, Atma Sadhana, becomes. This is precisely why they renounce life in cities and choose to reside in forest. Even if you go there and see the serenity, the calmness, the peace, it's something unique, you will not find that in any place. So that makes that place very, very conducive to meditation and our spiritual upliftment. In comparison to the company of humans, they find the companionship of wild animals and birds less harmful. Because although these creatures may inflict minor physical discomfort, they do not disturb one's inner focus with idle talk. The human's householder, however, corrupt the monk's mental state through trivial worldly discussions. The very attachment and aversion that monks renounce to begin with, these householders, by some means or another, drag them back into the same entanglements. In the name of revitalizing tirthas, they make the monks participate in fundraising appeals, drag them into panchayat, local councils, run their own political agenda using the monk's name, and in some form or another try to integrate them into their politics. It is precisely to avoid the influence of householders that monks choose to dwell in forest. However, ahar, the need for food, is one necessity that inevitably brings them into contact with householders. Therefore, specific rules have been laid down as precautions. First, when monks enter a town for ahar, food, through the method of selection, vikalp, they do so in silence. Second, they take their food while standing, because sitting inside a house is not considered appropriate. The lesser the interaction with householder, the better it is. Silence as a means of distancing oneself from others is the most effective tool, and they adopt it fully. Second, where do they have the leisure to sit and eat in peace? Their aim is merely to fill the hollow of the stomach with pure and sattvic food, and that too only partially. To sit calmly and eat slowly to one's full content would be a waste of time for them. The more forest-dwelling Muniraj ascetics remain away from the company of householders living in towns, the more they are able to engage in Atma Sadhana, spiritual pursuit. Okay? That is precisely why they renounce urban life and dwell in forest. Compared to human company, the company of forest-dwelling animals and birds seems far less dangerous to them. For though animal, birds, or even insects may inflict minor physical pain, they do not engage in idle talk that disturbs one's spiritual focus. Worldly householder, however, corrupt the ascetic's inner state by indulging in meaningless worldly discussions. So these are all being repeated. The very ragdves from which these ascetics have withdrawn to become monks, these householders somehow manage to entangle them back into those very entanglement. In the name of restoring pilgrim site, they urge them to appeal for donation, involve them in disputes and committees, run their politics through them, and in one way or another try to incorporate the monks into their worldly agendas. So all these are repeated. Just now we have discussed this. It is precisely to avoid these householders that the monks choose to dwell in forest. However, so this is being repeated, I think. Yeah, this is all repetitions. So now we will begin from here. Even children When their minds are absorbed in play, do not sit and eat peacefully. At best, upon their mother's persistent coaxing, they nibble a little while standing and then run off to play. Their minds are immersed in play. They have no time to eat. In the same way, the minds of our monks are absorbed in Atma Dhyan, self meditation. Where is the leisure for them to sit and eat in peace? In the same way, it is only natural to feel lethargic after eating a full meal. Therefore, for those Muniraj ascetic monks who are to engage in Samaik, spiritual equanimity, for 6 ghadis, units of time, after returning from Ahar, alms meal, how could a full indulgent meal, one that increases pramad, the negligence, spiritual negligence, even be appealing to them? Okay. Next. When students have examination and must study late into night, when students have examinations and must study late into the night, even they take a light dinner in the evening. Similarly, the Muniraj also follow the path of a minimal consumption. They partake only in Suddh Sattvic, pure and spiritually balanced food, that too in small quantities merely to sustain life. They do not live to eat, rather they eat to live. Now this statement is very important. They do not live to eat, rather they eat to live. Just sustain their life, they eat that much only. If one eats a full meal, even drinking an adequate amount of water afterwards becomes difficult, and thirst may arise later. But Muniraj drink water only at the time of their meal. Afterward, they do not consume water at all. Due to lack of water, digestion may not proceed properly, leading to constipation and various other ailments. Such conditions would obstruct their Atma Sadhana, spiritual practice, spiritual pursuits. Hence, they prefer light meals. There is a deeper significance behind accepting ahar, food in the palm. If food is accepted in a plate, it would then have to be consumed while sitting. Taking ahar while standing is not feasible with a plate. Moreover, when using a plate, there is a possibility that against the monk's wishes, someone might place an excessive or unsuitable quantity of food upon it. Since leaving leftovers is not considered appropriate, this could result in the monk consuming more than intended. So all these are logics given why the monks takes food while standing, while they take food in their hands only. All these reasons are given. This risk does not arise when food is taken directly into the hand. Even if someone happens to place something more than requested, how much can they possibly give? Perhaps just one morsel, nothing more. But with a plate, any quantity may be served regardless of the monk's intent. The autonomy that one has while eating from the hand is not retained when eating from a plate. There is also this tendency that devotees do not refrain from displaying their affluence. If the monk were to begin accepting food in a plate, someone would offer it in a silver plate, another in a golden one. We even begin to adorn the idols of the Digambar passionless lords with gold, silver, and precious jewels. If the Digambaras cannot ornament their bodies with any jewelry or clothing, they instead decorate the surrounding ensemble. They dazzle the space with canopies and fly whisk, that which the Lord has renounced as trivial. Those very objects we now array around them as embellishments. The tendencies of the passionate are inevitably infused with attachment. How then could such tendency appeal to the dispassionate and detached Muniraj? This is precisely the reason behind their practice of receiving food in their own hands. You are already aware that when an ascetic monk returns after ahar, alms collection, he must appear before the Acharya Sri, preceptor, and recount everything that transpired during the time of his charya, wandering conduct. If there has been any lapse, whether in mind, speech, or body, during that period, it must be confessed in full. An appropriate prayashchit, atonement, must be undertaken. This is quite required because otherwise they will lose their level of purity, and then their spiritual stage will also fall. So they always disclose everything what has transpired while they went for taking the alms. Why is all this required specifically after the ahar charya conduct during alms collections? Because during this time of ahar, receiving food, association with householders becomes inevitable. And such association carries a greater likelihood of transgressions, dosh. From this very fact, one can infer how perilous the associations of householders is for monks. It is precisely to preserve the purity of this interaction that the rules has been instituted. After the ahar charya, alms conduct, the sadhu must go before the Acharya Sri, report everything that transpired and undergo expiation or atonement as per preceptor's instruction. Because during the time of ahar, receiving food, association with householders becomes. So again, this is repeating. You are doing some mistakes in pages.
No, sorry, sir. I just literally downloaded what was on the group. I've not
Okay.
changed them.
So I think it's getting repeated. I don't know. Okay. Because during the time of ahar, receiving association with householders becomes inevitable, and such association carries a greater likelihood of transgression. So all these are
Repeated, sir.
repeated. Next page you go. So in the same way, from here, in the same way, Muniraj, ascetic lords, ensured that no harm of any kind comes to the householder from whom they receive alms. Therefore, they do not accept food that has been prepared specifically with them in mind. This is called Uddist Ahar. So they never take food which has been prepared specifically for them. Okay. Whatever food the householder has prepared for their own personal consumption, if from that something is offered to the Muniraj, only that is accepted. If food is prepared with the intent of offering it to the Muniraj, then any Arambi Hinsa, initiated or intentional violence involved in its making, becomes the Muniraj's share to bear. Thus, Muniraj do not wish anyone to cook specifically for them. For this very reason, they renounce Uddist Ahar, pre-designated or intentionally prepared food. The truth of the matter is, one minute. Okay. The truth of the matter is, why would a Graha Virat Muniraj, a monk who has announced the householder's life, wish to remain amidst the company of householders. If we were to dwell in such company, then what was the point of renouncing worldly life in the first place? This is precisely the reason behind our sadhus and saints dwellings in forests, residing in mountain caves, engaging in self-discipline upon the peaks of mountains. This is the secret behind why our tirthas are located atop mountainous summits and in secluded forested regions. The dharma of steadfast and valiant sadhus and saints is solely dhyan, meditative absorption. It is in the state of dhyan alone that keval gyan, omniscience, is attained and infinite bliss is realized. In fact, Dravya Sangra, we have already studied this Dravya Sangra, even states that path to liberation, both from the real viewpoint and from the conventional viewpoint, is attainable only through dhyan. The original words from the Dravya Sangra is as follows. Both the Nischay and Vyavhar, real viewpoint, conventional viewpoint, path of liberation, are realized only through meditation. Therefore, O Muni, practice meditation with effort and diligence. This dhyan, meditative absorption, can truly occur only in solitude. For its accomplishment, sadhus renounce home and family to dwell in forest and wilderness. However, nowadays, influenced by the ways of others, some people have started practicing dhyan in groups, sitting together in air-conditioned halls to meditate collectively. So this is not recommended. Meditation should be done in solitude, individually, alone. Okay. So when you are in the company of many people together, then your focus is not that appropriate as required for meditation. Okay. There are some deviations, distractions now and then everywhere. Okay. So this should be avoided. Some people respond, no. Oh brother, if the accomplishment of dhyan were possibly by sitting with one's family in air-conditioned rooms, then what was lacking in the home of our Tirthankars? Would they have not even a single air-conditioned chamber? Oh brother, Santinath was not only a Tirthankar, but also a Chakravarti. What could be possibly have lacked? In fact, all the Tirthankars were princes, were kings, none of them lacked anything. Yet for the attainment of meditative absorption, they went into the forest. They renounced home and family. They ascended to the peaks of mountains, of which direct evidence is presented by the Tirth places like our very own Samit Seeker. Some people respond to this by saying that in an air-conditioned room, one doesn't feel the heat, so the mind settles easily in meditation. That the absence of flies and mosquitoes prevents disturbances. But dear brother, those who concern themselves with heat and cold are not true meditators. Even ferocious beasts like lions could not disturb the meditation of our monks. And you say your meditation is hindered by mere flies and mosquitoes? It doesn't work that way. Now the last page. For meditation, the truly secure place is not an air-conditioned home, but the dense forest nestled in the lap of nature, the mountain ranges. If anyone has ever attained omniscience while sitting in an air-conditioned hall, do let us know. But there are innumerable souls who have indeed attained Keval Gyan atop mountain peaks, such as those of Samit Seeker. Those who sit in these air-conditioned rooms often do not even know what the Dhyayi object of focus is, what it is that they are meant to meditate upon. Without a clearly known Dhyayi, no true meditation can ever occur. Neither are they aware of the Dhyayi, nor have they made any attempt to understand it. Yet without any contemplation or clarity, they claim to be meditating. So all these are not the right practices of meditation. Dhyan too is gradually becoming a fashion, a luxury item. In today's time, it has turned into a lavish indulgence for the newly rich under the labels of yoga, pranayam, breath regulation, and dhyan. People now merely seek relaxation and stress relief. They have reduced meditation to a means of lowering tension and managing blood pressure. The Dhyan meditation that was once a means to attain Keval Gyan, omniscience, is now being used to relieve the stress of the rich, nowhere rich. What could be a greater mockery of meditation than this? Today, Dhyan meditation that was once a means to attain omniscience is now being used to relieve. So this is done. Today, Dhyan is being used like a medicine for physical health. This very body for which the first 6 of the 12 contemplations are dedicated to generate vairagya, detachment, and to break the illusion of unity. This very body whose impermanence, helplessness, worthlessness, separateness, and impurity are continuously contemplated upon by the devout for the attainment of meditation. Today we are using the sacred practice of dhyan to strengthen that very body, which is again not right. The meditation that was meant as a remedy for the distorted soul is now being applied to the treatment of the body. Should we call this the fault of the Kalyug, age of downfall, or the unfortunate outcome of our long-standing ignorance? Whatever the case may be, this matter should not be left unexamined. It must be seriously reflected upon. Today, even our supremely sacred teeths are being turned into picnic spots. These forested regions too are being transformed into modern towns, or new theatres are being developed in such a way that all kinds of luxuries and convenience are available. Yet no one stops to consider that by equipping these sacred places with modern comforts, their essential nature will be completely lost. With the entry of things like television and VCR, even the serenity of these spaces will be disturbed, because those places are so calm. Even if someone is playing a TV, maybe say 2 kilometers from that place, still you can listen to those sounds, So it's such a calm place. So there these things are not to be taken there. If this happens, then these places too will cease to be the sites of Atma Sadhana, soul-centered spiritual practice, and will become ordinary places just like any other. It is of utmost importance to preserve their original essence. Our pilgrimage sites are the abodes of the Vitragis, detached ones, the Vairagis, renunciants, and the yogis, spiritual aspirants. It is not appropriate to turn them into places of indulgence, not to adorn them like the haunts of pleasure seekers. Maintaining them clean and equipping them with essential for a disciplined life is one thing, but introducing means of entertainment, setting up gardens for leisure, providing facilities for inappropriate consumption, and allowing the entry of television which is entirely unsuitable. These are places meant for living with restraint, meant for leading a simple life. going there adorned in ornamentation, living a life lacking in restraint, such conduct diminishes their noble sanctity. These places ought to be transformed into centers of meditation and study. Centers of meditation and study is the ideal use of these places. There should be arrangement for in-depth study of Jain philosophy. The environment here must be spiritual, marked by spiritual discussions and meaningful dialogue. Their true glory lies in this very fact that just as our Tirthankars and sages engage in deep spiritual practices, these Tirthankars too should, through their atmosphere, inspire every soul today towards the same path of inner pursuit. Their true glory lies in this very fact that just as our Tirthankars and sages engaged in deep spiritual practices, these Tirthankars too should, through their atmosphere, inspire every soul today towards the same path of inner pursuit. May its sanctity remain forever, and may this Tirtharaj continue to inspire countless noble souls towards spiritual upliftment for all eternity. With this auspicious sentiment, I conclude. So, in the last few discussions, the author warns us that if this place is used as a picnic spot, if facilities are provided, then it will lose its importance. This should be a place, this should be divided, this should be a place where only spiritual studies should be promoted, meditation should be promoted, and that should be the only purpose for visiting such pilgrim sites. Okay, so with this end, we've complete our syllabus. I took 10 minutes more, although I started 5 minutes late. So, but nevertheless, we have completed this. So, for 2-3 weeks, we will have holidays. We will connect in the second week of July, by the time, second week of July, by the time you must have given your first paper. Okay. So, we will connect and we'll start the 6th SEM. Okay. Although 6th SEM, the syllabus is quite short, so we may start in the 3rd week of July. Okay. So I think then two of your objectives would have been done. Okay. So I'll just inform you by seeing the calendar and inform you when we are going to start. But in between, if you have any questions, any particular chapter, any particular topic, you are most welcome to call me anytime, or you can fix up an appointment with me and we can discuss at length to your level of satisfaction. Okay. So never hesitate. If you have any doubts in mind, you always ask. Otherwise, if you keep on reading it again and again, you will definitely understand. It's not that much difficult also. Okay. So with this, we end. निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना